Everybody, today we're going to talk about order of operations. This is topic 0. It's a review assignment, and we're in lesson 5. And so, first of all, we're going to talk about order of operations and why do we need order of operations when solving math problems. Well, when we're solving math problems, depending upon what order you do the operations, you might get different answers. If I see, for example, 5 plus 2 times 3, and I know this is a little bit sloppy here, 5 plus 2 times 3. If I just went left to right and started with 5 plus 2, that equals 7. And if I take 7 times 3, that equals 21. Now I'm going to take the same problem, 5 plus 2 times 3. But what if instead of going left to right, what if I did the multiplying first? And I did 2 times 3, which is 6. Then I would have 5 plus 6, which gives me an answer of 11. As you can see, we do not get the same answer both ways. And so what we have is mathematicians have decided, well, here are the rules we're going to follow when we do these types of problems so that everybody will get the same result when they do the problems. Okay, so our basic order of operations, we follow what's called PEMDAS. P-E, I'm going to put M and D together. I'm also going to put A and S together. All right. P stands for parentheses, E for exponents, M and D stand for multiplying and dividing. And there's a reason I put them together here. I put them together here because we don't always multiply before we divide. Sometimes we divide before we multiply. We do them in the same step in the order they appear from left to right. Same thing with AS, addition and subtraction. We don't always add before we subtract. Sometimes we subtract first and then add. We do them in the same step as they appear from left to right. Now, we aren't going to talk about the exponents today. Okay, we'll get to that later this year. We're really going to focus on multiplying, dividing, adding, and subtracting when doing our order of operations today. Okay, you will see me put some parentheses in place. And honestly, whenever you see parentheses or any other grouping symbol, parentheses look like this. Sometimes you might see brackets. Sometimes you'll see really fancy brackets like this. If you ever see brackets, anything that's inside of the brackets, you will want to do first. That would be your first step. We won't see many problems today, if any, with parentheses, but you will see me put parentheses in the problems to help kind of show what I do first. All right, so I have 15 minutes to do this video, and I've already used a couple of those minutes. So let's talk about an example here. Here it says simplify. Now the word simplify, sometimes people say, well, doesn't that just mean solve? And I guess you could kind of say it means solve. It means to reduce something down to its lowest terms, reduce it as far as you can go. And usually when you do that, you can reduce it all the way down to a final solution. So we could say solve for most of our purposes in the 6th grade, but technically it means just reducing it down as far as you can go. So here I have this problem, 4 plus 15 divided by 3. Now, if you think about your order of operations, P-E-M-D-A-S, some people use a nice phrase to help them remember the order, and they'll say, please, excuse. I know I'm kind of messy here. My dear Aunt Sally. And you might be thinking, well, why do we have to excuse our dear Aunt Sally? What could possibly she have done? Well, it doesn't matter. It's just a fun phrase to help us remember order of operations. But again, P is for parentheses, E for exponents. Now, my dear, multiplying and dividing go together in the same step. You do them from left to right. Aunt Sally, adding and subtracting goes in order as they appear from left to right as well. So in this problem here, 4 plus 15 divided by 3, we have to divide before we can add. So 15 divided by 3 is 5. Oh boy, we're not writing. Let me try this again. There we go. So now I have 4 plus 5, and we get an answer of 9. That's all there is to it. It's really that easy. If I look at this next example right here, 2 plus 5 times 3, what do I do first? Do I add first or do I multiply first? Well, M comes before A in PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So we're going to multiply first. So I'll put parentheses around 5 times 3. That's 15. And then I'll put 2 plus 15, and I get a final answer of 17 for this problem. Okay, so we multiplied before we added. Now, again, I want to point out, I haven't said this yet this year, but it's really important that you always show your work. Show every step along the way. Be sure to show all of your work when solving these problems. Now, they do get more complicated. Look at these two examples here. I'm going to start on the one here on the left. We have 3 times 5 minus 8 divided by 4 plus 6. And notice the times sign here. We're using a dot to show multiplication. And multiplication can be shown several ways. Usually you'll see the times sign used like this, but sometimes you'll see a dot used. You know, for example, 5 times 2, or you could say 5 times 2 using a dot. Another way you can show multiplying is by using parentheses. I could show 5 times 2 and put the 2 in parentheses, and that means we're multiplying. Another way you'll see multiplication shown is sometimes you'll see 5 and then you'll see what's called an asterisk. 5 times 2. It kind of looks like a snowflake. These all mean the same thing. We're multiplying. Okay? So I look back at this problem now. I have multiplying, I have subtracting, I have division, I have adding, and we have to multiply and divide before we can add or subtract. So I know I have to take 3 times 5. But I also have to take 8 divided by 4. And I'm going to do these in the same step because once I get these results, after that's done, we'll do our subtracting, and then over here we'll do our adding. So 3 times 5 is 15. Minus, we have our subtraction sign right here. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And then we have plus 6. At this point, I'm just going to do this in the order that it appears from left to right. Remember, sometimes people say, well, wait, isn't adding done before subtracting? Well, again, these are done in the same step in the order they appear from left to right. Subtracting appears first here, so I will subtract before I add. So what is 15 minus 2? Well, it's 13. And then if I add 6 to that, I get my final answer of 19. Easy peasy? All right, I'm going to skip this problem just for time's sake. I want to keep this under 15 minutes. And let's look at an example. It's kind of a word problem here. We have Crawford's department store. Suppose you buy the items shown on this receipt. What is the total cost of the items, including the tax? And you can see we have jeans here, 3 pair. We're buying 3 pair, and it's at $35 each. So if you want to find the total cost of the jeans, you would take 3 times 35 because they are $35 a pair. Now it says you have a discount of $5. So we get to subtract $5 from that cost. Next, we're going to add in the cost of the shirts. Shirts, we're buying 4 of them at $15 each. So we're going to add 4 times 15, whatever that cost is. And then the last thing we add on is the tax. And we're going to add $10. The nice thing is here in Minnesota, we don't have tax on clothing. They do tax clothing in Wisconsin, but each state decides that for themselves, and Minnesota does not tax clothing. So this Crawford's must be in somewhere other than Minnesota. So anyway, I'm looking at my problem now, and I can see I need to multiply to find the total cost of the jeans. And then I also need to multiply here to find the total cost of the shirts. And all of a sudden it's not writing again. All right, so 3 times 35, we could use a calculator, but I'm just going to do it for you. That's 105. Minus 5 plus, and now the cost of the shirts, we have 4 times 15. I'll do that for you too. That's 60. And then we add the sales tax, which is 10 more. Now all that's left is subtracting and adding. And remember, we do them in the order they appear from left to right. So I have 105 minus 5, which is 100, plus 60, and then plus 10. And then we take 100 plus 60, which is 160, and then we add the sales tax, 10, and we get 170. Now, that's our answer, but I'm going to add one more thing to my answer. See, this is a money problem. We're looking for the total cost for all these items. And this is dollars, so I'm putting a dollar sign out in front. And that right there is the total cost for all of this. Okay, so that's your lesson on order of operations. And so you can go ahead and work on your assignment. If you need to review any of this, you can go back and watch this video again. All right, I'll see you later.